What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And if it's your first time, my name is Travis Walls. I'm a former Division I athlete and a former NBA strength coach for over a decade. And now I'm the founder of Rebuilt Athlete. And I'm making this video, which is going to be super raw, is because I kind of have a vision of what I want to do. And when I made this channel, I had an online fitness business, which I still have, but I've rebranded it. And it was called Formula Factory. So you may see some old videos labeled as Formula Factory, but I rebranded it to Rebuilt Athlete. And I'm going to go over why I did that, what the goal is, what the mission is with this video. And this is the very first video, like I said, super raw, unscripted for YouTube to kind of speak on my vision, speak it into existence. And I know that as I start putting these videos out, it's going to speak to the right person. So I'm going to tell you exactly what Rebuilt Athlete is, but like I said, if it's your first time and you haven't watched any previous videos where I spoke about my past and who I am, I'm going to kind of go over that right now. So kind of like I said, I mean, I'm a former Division I athlete. I played at University of North Florida, a small Division I in Jacksonville, Florida. So just like anybody else who played sports, your whole life, you was like, hey, I want to go to school for free. I want to be a Division I athlete. I want to make it to the NBA. Like, that was my life as well. And once I finished playing, I went over to Finland and Slovakia and played professional for a little bit, and which was an eye-opener. It's kind of not what I expected at all. You know, I think a lot of times people think when they're going to play overseas, that there's, you know, it's just not what they think it is. And so definitely was a culture shock. Well, Finland is Western Europe, so it was a little better, but Slovakia, Eastern Europe was kind of, you know, an eye-opener for me. So once I stopped playing, I moved back home. Ended up at Home Depot, working at my local Home Depot. And at this time, I'm like 22, 23. So, you know, I just remember like being in Home Depot and a lot of people looking at me like, hey, I thought you was, you know, playing overseas. And I had every excuse. Oh, I messed up my knee. And it was none of that. It was just kind of like I was over it. And I just kind of knew like I needed to get life started. So I ended up going to grad school at Virginia Commonwealth University, worked with the basketball team and worked my way up, did some internships and ended up becoming an NBA strength coach for Kyle Lowry, which is he was a Toronto Raptors at the time, which just, you know, is one of the best Raptors players of all time and is an NBA champion, should be a Hall of Famer, is already Olympian. So worked with him for about 10 years, traveled the world with him, did everything with him. And so I've seen both sides. I've seen, you know, being an athlete myself. I've seen, you know, losing that in terms of my identity, and then going to work with the best athletes in the world at the NBA level for 10 years and seeing it from another aspect in terms of being a coach. And I can realize, you know, how difficult it can be once the sport is over, even for somebody who's played at a small Division I school, even how it's going to be for some guys in the NBA, and even some people who just played in high school. Like, I can see how life can be difficult when it became your identity. So that's a little bit about me and why I decided to go the Rebuilt Athlete, which I said I'm going to get into. What is it about? But this is why I'm really passionate about what I'm doing and why I rebranded it from Formula Factory to Rebuilt Athlete. Formula Factory was an online fitness business that I was helping, you know, men, and it was, you know, it was great, but I just kind of felt like there's a specific person that needs my help. And I feel like it's former athletes who are dealing with the struggles of life after sports that a lot of people don't talk about. So as we get into what the problem is that Rebuilt Athlete is going to solve, yes, it's an online fitness company that is transforming men's lives every single day in terms of you know, their physique, but more importantly, it's the identity shift. And like I said, this doesn't get talked about enough, but for so long in your life, when you have this goal of being an NBA player, being an NFL player, going to college for free, going to University of Alabama for football, whatever it may be, and that day doesn't happen, all of a sudden you have to look yourself in the mirror and be like, hey, what is my purpose? What am I supposed to do now? And I think this is a conversation that doesn't get spoken a lot because it's really deep. And a lot of people who aren't athletes don't understand it. It's like, well, it was just a sport to you. It's like, no, it was my whole life. Like, every time I woke up, I knew what to do, how to do it, when to do it, why to do it. And now all of a sudden that gets taken away from me. And it's like, I have to rebrand my entire identity. So I think a lot of times for any athlete, they go through this phase of life of trying to find exactly who they are. And I'm big into the fitness component because I think a lot of times when people lose themselves, you can see it in the physical sense. Obviously, there's mental things that can go on, depression, emotional, but like I think a lot of times when it comes from the physical standpoint, you can see it. It's the first thing you can see. So a lot of people ask, like, why do athletes get out of shape? And how could that even happen? Don't you guys know what to do? Like, I gained 30 pounds after I finished playing. So I completely understand. It's like, yes and no. Yes, we've trained. It's not about exercises, but it's about the purpose of why I was doing it. And when you lose that purpose, it's kind of hard to dig deep and understand why you should wake up every day and do this. I had a guy comment today on one of my videos on TikTok, and he was pretty much saying, like, this conversation doesn't get talked about enough. And he's like, now he works a 9 to 5. There's no competitive nature in it. There's no brotherhood. So it makes it really difficult for him to wake up every morning and feel the purpose. And this is what Rebuilt Athlete is about. It's about building a tribe of former athletes. It's about guys who may have let themselves go physically and are trying to find themselves again. And you may ask, like, well, how can a physical component get a man to rebrand himself in a certain way? It's like, well, when you see yourself changing, whether that's your body, whether that's your mindset, you start to believe in yourselves again. And a lot of my clients, when they come into me at first, it's like they haven't seen themselves do something significant in a long time. And I think by using fitness as a vehicle, it can prove to you that you still are that person who can produce a certain result. They're still capable of doing whatever they want and putting them back in a competitive nature. The slogan is get back in the arena when it comes to Rebuilt Athletes. Like getting guys to compete again, getting guys in a tribe and a brotherhood to feel like they're in a locker room again, to feel alive. And I'm going to speak a lot about this. Well, everything on this in this channel is just in terms of like making these guys feel alive again, making these guys have purpose again, and completely transforming their life to the second stage of it. And you think it just happens like, oh, maybe when you're 24 or 25, once it's over, you go to that stage. Some guys actually never recover. And it's really difficult for them because they never proven to themselves that they are still that athlete inside who wants to compete, who wants to have a brotherhood, who wants to see themselves rebrand. I was watching a video earlier today as well, and this guy talks about how athletes die twice. And he's talking about how athletes die twice. They die when their career is over, regardless if that's college, high school, if you take it really serious, and obviously the professional level. And then obviously like every other human, you die when you leave the earth. But the objective of athletes die twice, like I said, it's like your whole life you dedicated to one thing. And then all of a sudden that thing is taken away from you and you feel like you died. Like your routine is gone, your purpose is gone. And now you're searching for meaning on this earth. And I think it sounds really deep, but it's the truth. And this is where a lot of depression comes from. You've had guys like Michael Phelps, some of the best athletes in the world, struggle with this is because like their whole life has been pretty much around this. And once it's done, it's like, well, who am I? And I've been fortunate enough to work with some of the best athletes in the world. And you realize that money isn't everything. It's like purpose is. Like, why am I on this earth? What am I supposed to do? Rebuilt Athlete is going to be. As I'm making this video on May 29th, 2026, I'm making a commitment to you and myself that I'm going to build a business called Rebuilt Athlete that's going to be the biggest company for former athletes. And we're going to talk about entrepreneurship. We're going to talk about building businesses. We're going to talk about the identity shift. We're going to talk about bringing guys back together, the tribe, transforming our body. What does that do? There's going to be retreats. There's going to be community access. There's so many things, guest speakers, events, masterminds. There's going to be so many things that I'm going to build with this because I know it's a necessity for guys like me and guys all around the world. And I think that this will help athletes rebuild themselves in a powerful way. So that is pretty much the problem of what I see. And how I noticed this was actually when I started Formula Factory, my old online fitness company, I was asking myself, like, who does the best in my program? Like, who are these guys that are crushing it and they getting these types of results where they're just completely transforming their body, they're listening, they're very coachable, they're disciplined. And I'm like, these guys are all former athletes. And I'm like, I'm a former athlete myself, but I'm like, that is what it is. Like, they just need direction again. They just need somebody to show them a routine. And not just like a workout routine, like somebody actually to be there for them and show them a way that is going to get them the result that they're trying to get to. Regardless if it's lose 20 pounds, gain 15 pounds of muscle, regardless of what it is, we're so used to a routine. And these guys didn't want to be baby. They were just like, Travis, show me the way how I'm going to get this weight off and feel better about myself and gain that confidence that I once had that I can now utilize in my real life now with my family, real responsibilities, my career, whatever it is. They want to take that confidence and dump it into their life because they haven't seen it since they played. So that was like the big shift in my mind. I'm like, these guys are all former athletes. They all have a purpose deeper than, I just want to look good. Like the abs and the biceps, all that stuff was easy, but they were digging so deep to find out who am I again and what can I put myself through to show myself I'm still disciplined and I still compete. So when I sat back and I looked at the data, I'm like, man, like I want to work with former athletes because I know the pain. I've seen it at the highest level, and I want to help those guys who are just feel like they're lost, and we build that tribe where we're all together. And like I said, yes, fitness is the vehicle, but the big component is like bringing guys together to talk about business, entrepreneurship. Like I said, masterminds, guest speakers, events, and I can just see it now, like, the sign, a big sign, rebuilt athlete, guys wearing the gear, wearing the, the hats, the water bottles, whatever you want to call it. It's just like guys all coming together that have the same goal and mission to rebuild themselves post-playing career. So that is what a rebuilt athlete is going to be. And I just made this video super raw, like I said, to document it for myself, document it for people who may be listening, and they're like, hey, look, there's somebody out there that understands what I'm going through, and I just want to be a part of that tribe. So if that sounds like you, like, follow, subscribe, because this channel is going to be about rebuilding former athletes, and we're going to talk about all the things that most people don't talk about. Like, now when I scroll Instagram, it's like, hey, man, like, if you don't want to be that fat dad, or, if you want to look good for summer, it's like, that's the kind of business I was in, and I was like, that's not what I want to do anymore. Like, I want something deeper than just guys wanting to look good for a beach or a boat day. Like, that doesn't really do anything for me or the person. It's easy, actually. And just getting somebody to understand you're still capable of transforming your life. And a lot of times it starts with the mind and the body. And if we can get those things back aligned, you would be surprised what you can do. So that is the mission. The mission is to build a tribe of former athletes and get them to get to a place where they can build themselves up. If you feel lost physically, mentally, emotionally, and you just need your type of people around you so you can continue to level up, this is what it's going to be. We're going to talk about fitness. I'm going to have guest speakers on here, former athletes, former NBA players, former NFL players, people who play all sports, even to people who stopped playing in high school, just to ask them, what have they went through in terms of this transition? What did it look like? How did they get through it? Are they still dealing with it? So it's like, what are some of the tactics that they've used to continue to rebuild themselves? And I'm super excited for this channel. My goal is to pump out videos nonstop for you guys because I understand this is exactly what I would have wanted when I had to rebuild myself. So once again, like, follow, subscribe, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Peace.